The Truth with G.
Yeah, you are now tuned into The Truth with G. Inspire, educate, and uplift. If you can't handle the truth, this ain't the show for you. The truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So sit back, relax, and buckle up and enjoy this ride.
The Truth with G. The Truth with G. The Truth with G.
All right. Welcome back to the show. You listen to The Truth with G on WPMM Internet Radio. It's your boy, Gerald Graham. You know me as G. Once again, we are back to talk about the issues that matter to you and your community. What's going on, my people? Hope all is well with everyone. Hope all of you have had a great week so far. We got one more day to the weekend. I call this Friday Eve. It is Thursday, the 8th day of August. This year is just whizzing on along. We're going to be coming up on the holidays here soon. I already got Halloween stuff up in the stores, and as soon as in about a week, you're going to start seeing all the Christmas stuff go up. But anyway, I want to thank you so very much for joining me right here on WPMM Internet Radio for The Truth with G. I'm here on Thursday. I'm here on a Thursday. It's been rough. It's been real rough trying to get here on this Thursday to come before you today, but I made it. I didn't think I was going to make it. I think I got on about 5 minutes late. I didn't think I was going to make it, but I got here to do the show, and we're going to make it do what it do. Thank you so very much for joining me. I want to thank my listening audience. I want to thank my first-timers, my ride-or-dies, my part-timers, anybody who has listened to the show, or anybody who has tuned in after the fact and caught the show on Facebook. If you have listened to the show, thank you so very much. I do appreciate it, because this show is for you, about you, and of you. And without you, I would not be sitting here today. So thank you so very much for listening to the show. We had just celebrated 4 years. If you want to call it a celebration, I didn't do much, but other than come on and educate you guys on what's going on in the world. I postponed my so-called anniversary show because there was a lot going on at the time. And it was better that we talk about the issues versus talking about my anniversary. So we kind of skipped over the anniversary shows, but maybe one day we'll do something in regards to the anniversary coming up here in the next coming month or so. So we'll see. Just stay tuned for that. But in the meantime, I want to welcome you to WPMM Internet Radio, where we play more music. We play the best in R&B, jazz, soul, and neo-soul, independent hip-hop, and old-school music. You can listen to WPMM from the website at WPMMradio.com. You can go to iTunes. You can go to TuneIn. You can go to Facebook. We're on YouTube as well. So you can get WPMM streaming on any streaming platform that there is. You can take it with you with the app, WPMM Radio app. You can go to the Google Play Store or the Apple Store and download the app. It is a free app. You can also go to the website, WPMMradio.com, and download the app from the website as well. Again, it's a free app. It's a free app, and you can put it on any device, computer, tablet, phone, what have you. Anything that you can stream on, you can get it. You can tell Alexa to play WPMM. She will oblige as well. So the views and opinions expressed by individual radio hosts guests are of their own and does not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of WPMM Radio. WPMM does not intend to malign with any religion, ethnic group, company, club, organization, individual, or anyone or anything. All right. Now that we got the particulars out the way, tonight, Topics Thursday. We're going to talk about a couple things. We have to talk about this election. That's a given. We have to talk about the election tonight. And it is crucial. It is very, very important that we talk about it, particularly with what's going on right now. We're also going to talk about Little League football. We're going to talk about Little League football as well, because we're coming up on football season. The Little League season will start here in the next couple of weeks. Practice had already started, I think, a couple of weeks ago, end of a week or two ago. We're going to talk about that as well, because I want to make sure that our kids are being well taken care of while they're out there on that field, and the coaches and the adults in the room are acting like coaches and adults in the room when it comes to this little league football, because sometimes it can get a little out of hand. We'll talk about that as well. Um, I want to get to, I hadn't talked about the local violence that we're having in our communities. Haven't done that lately, but I do want to touch on that as well, because we still got a problem. We still have a major problem in Pensacola, in the Northwest Florida region here, um, with violence. So I do want to talk about that as well. So we'll see what we can get all in here in this particular show today. Um, and if you have, I want to start. I want to start with Little League football. I want to start with Little League football. So if you are a coach, if you are a parent of any kid that is playing Little League football, uh, or you're a fan of Little League football, I need you to jump on. I need you to jump on. Anybody that's within the sound of my voice. If you know any football coaches, any if your friends or whatever got kids playing in Little League sports, I need you to tag them with this live. Send them the link ttwg Graham on Facebook. They can log into Facebook, or they can go to wpmmradio.com and listen from the app. Also, I do want to hear from you as well. If you're out there, let me know. We're not taking phone calls. However, you can uh, put your comment. If you listen on Facebook, put your comment in the comment section on Facebook, and I will read your comment and we will discuss your comment as well. Particularly if you have questions, but if you're just making a comment, we'll just read your comment and I may comment on your comment. So, but we're going to make sure we address any of your comments. And I apologize. There's something going on in my eye right here. So I'm not sure what's happening, but something's in my eye, and I don't do commercials. So I can't take a commercial break and get it out. So if you see me looking strange, it's because I have something in my eye, but we're going to tough it out. But if you're on Facebook, let me know you're out there. Let me know you're out there. Give me a thumbs up or a heart or something. Post your name at the bottom. Just let me know you're out there and let me know you're listening. Once again, thank you for listening. Okay. We are in the football season. And right along with pro football, we have college football. Right along with college football, we have high school football. And then we have, depending on what state you're in, you may have middle school football. And then we have Little League football. And Little League football is the topic that I want to talk about on this part of the segment of the show. And the reason why I want to talk about it is because I'm not saying anything that I don't know. Just to give you a little background in regards to my Little League history. My oldest kid started playing sports when he was 5, I believe. He started in baseball and t-ball when he was 5, and he played a year or two of football. My middle son played a year or so of football. We'll talk about that later, but he also played a little basketball. And then my youngest son tried to play every sport under the sun. And throughout those years, my oldest son is now 37 years old. He'll be 37 here in a minute. So if you like me, you go to public school, you gotta use your fingers and your toes to do the math. So if he was 5 when I started coaching, and then I coached my youngest son until he went to high school, which is 6 years ago when he started high school. So if you do the math, I have about 25 so years of coaching experience with little league sports, and that's from everything: baseball, football, basketball. I even coached a year of soccer. Didn't know what the hell I was doing, but I did coach a year of soccer. I volunteered my time to go out there with the kids, and I knew how to kick a ball. I knew the concept. I'm not Pele. I can't, or I don't know who the soccer stars are nowadays. But I did give up, you know, my life and my time to help the kids, and it was all about the kids. It was all about the kids, and also, uh, my s- son participated in the game of soccer as well. Um, and I always said that I will coach my kids in anything that they do. I did miss the year my middle son had football because, unfortunately, at that time I had a job where I could not commit to coaching, where I was at work, during practice times or whatnot. So that was the year I wasn't able to physically be on the sidelines 24/7, if you will. But I have a lot of experience coaching kids at that. And with coaching these kids, you have to have certain qualities about you to coach these kids. Unfortunately, everybody do not have the right qualities to coach the ones that don't have the right qualities know who they are. The ones that do know who the ones are who don't. And however, 9 times out of 10, the ones who have the qualities to coach are not going to say anything against the ones that don't, because they may need the help or whatever the case may be. It may be a shortage of coaches or whatnot. But everybody don't have the right qualities to coach these kids. And I'm talking little league sports here. Little league sports is supposed to be educational first. And when I say educational, it's for them to learn the game, whether it's football, basketball, baseball, soccer, hockey, swimming, lacrosse. It don't matter what the sport is, volleyball, softball. I can name all the sports, whatever. But a little league is for learning. It's to teach these kids the game, teach these kids the sport in which they are embarking upon. In order to keep these kids engaged, in order to keep them happy, in order to keep them to want to continue to learn this craft, whatever craft that they choose, they have to be happy about doing it. If they're not happy about doing it, they're not going to want to do it. So therefore, they're not going to give 100% effort in what they do. Unfortunately, we have parents that will force their kids into doing something that they don't want to do. And that's the most dangerous part of playing a sport, when you are forcing a kid into a sport that he don't want to be in, especially if that sport has, has a danger level to it, such as football, any contact sport, lacrosse. There's some contact in basketball, but it's not considered a contact sport. Baseball is not really a contact sport unless you slide into somebody or run into somebody on the baseline, or somebody forget to call a fly ball and you run into each other. So there's not much contact in baseball. However, as a former baseball player, I can tell you that ball hurts. And I'll be honest with you, the reason I was a damn good baseball player, and the reason that I stopped playing baseball is because that ball hurts. That was one of the main. That was one of. That wasn't the only reason, but that was one of the main reasons I stopped playing. Because the older I got, when I got into high school, I seen how hard they throw. I seen how hard they hit. I had been hit in little league with the little boys throwing it, and that hurt. And then you get in high school and you got kids throwing the velocity of 90 plus mile an hour fastballs, and you standing there in that batter's box and that ball coming towards you, and you don't have a whole lot of reaction time. So that's the reason I got out of baseball. But I was a damn good baseball player, not to toot my own horn, but I was pretty good. Um, but I ended up playing football. Football is a contact sport. Every play, depending on your position, every play you slamming into somebody. It's like having a car accident for 4 quarters, depending on your position. Like being in a car accident back to back. Every play is a car accident. So to do that, I said that to say this. To do that, these kids have to want to do this, particularly football. I tell my youngest son right now, he's at practice as we speak. He's at practice right now. They had a late practice today. He's playing college football. He's at practice right now. I tell him all the time, you have to be a little touched in the head to want to play the game of football. You have to kind of be a little crazy to want to slam into somebody every single play. Every time the ball is snapped, you want to hit somebody. Uh, you have to be a little touched to go through the rigorous training, the running, the hitting, all that stuff that football players go through. You have to be a little touched in the brain to do all this. But the key is you have to want to do it. And if you're one of those parents that is forcing your kid into the game of football, especially you fathers out there, don't force your kid into playing a sport that they don't want to do. Because I've seen it. I've told parents, take your son off this team. Your son don't want to be out here. I'm trying to protect your son. Your son will get hurt if he stays out here and he does not have the will to play this game. So please take your son off the team. As the beginning, this conversation took place with a couple parents at the beginning of the season, because you can, after one practice or so, you can tell who want to be there and who don't. And one way that you can tell, let me tell you, coaches, something. One way that you can tell how a player does not want to be there, does not want to play. This is a something that a lot of coaches don't know. So I'm gonna gather around, so I can tell you. Listen closely, coaches. I'm gonna tell you exactly how you will know every time that kid wants to play football or not. I'm gonna give you a couple of seconds to gather around, and I'm gonna tell you the secret on how to know when that kid don't want to be out there. I'm gonna give you 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Here's how you, if a kid does not want to play the game of football. You simply talk to the kid. You'll be amazed at the information you get out that child. All you have to do is talk to that child and say, do you want to do this? Do you want to play this game? Do you want to come out here and learn this sport and have fun? Even though, again, I'm talking to you like I would talk to the player. Even though we're gonna try to, as a coach, I'm talking as a coach, we're gonna make this fun for you. We're gonna try to make this fun, but with the fun, it's gonna come some hard work. It's gonna come some running. It's gonna come some contact. You're gonna hit. You're gonna tackle. You're gonna fall down. You're gonna get hurt. You're gonna have some bumps and bruises. That happens in the game of football. But we're gonna try to make it as fun as possible. We're gonna make sure that you learn this game, and if you want to move forward to the next level. We're at this level, and the next level you have to be this much faster and hit this much harder and have this much more knowledge or whatever. Is this something that you want to do, or is this something that your parents are forcing you to do? Now, when you're talking to a 5-year-old, 6-year-old, whatever the case may be, they still gonna tell you if they want to do it or not. And if that kid says, I don't want to play this sport, I don't want to do this, as a coach, I was obligated to go to that parent and say, Miss Smith, Mr. Smith, I've observed your child in a practice or two out here on this field. I had some concerns in regards to your child on this football field. I asked your child about what he was doing and if he wanted to do what he was doing. And he told me that he did not want to play this game. Again, this is my conversation with the parent. Your child told me he does not want to play this game. And I understand that you may want your child into a sport or whatever, but this apparently is not the sport that they want to be in. So my advice to you as a parent, if this child don't want to be here, I would advise you to pull your child out. And here's the reason why I would want you to pull your child out. Not that your child is a quitter or anything of that nature. The reason I want you to pull your child out is because this is a physical game. It's a high-speed game. It's a contact game. Kids get hurt. One of the best ways to avoid getting hurt is to go full speed every single play. Keep your eyes open every single play. Go full speed. Now, as a kid that don't want to play this game and don't want to do it, they're not going to give 100%. And by them not giving 100%, they're not going to be at full speed. They're not going to pay attention. They're not going to learn like they should. And they are setting themselves up to get hurt. And I don't want your kid to get hurt. The last thing I want is your kid to get hurt. So I would advise you to talk to your child. Make sure this is something your child wants to do. And if that child tells you that he don't want to do it, please pull him off of this team. But if he stays on the team, if he don't want to be here and he stays on the team, it's my job to protect him. I'm going to teach him everything that I can teach him, everything that he wants to learn. But I can guarantee you he won't see much contact. He won't see much playing time. In Little League ball, most Little League organizations have a minimum that each child has to play as a participation sport. They have a certain number of plays that they're supposed to play at each game or what have you. I'm going to put your child in position to where that we're going to get the minimum requirements out of your child because you paid your money to have your child on this team. I'm going to get him in a position to where I feel that he's going to be safest, to where he's not going to get hurt. And I'm going to get him those 5 plays that when you signed up for this game, I'm going to get him those 5 plays, but I'm going to put him in a position where he's less likely to get hurt because I don't want to see your child hurt because he's out here doing something that he don't want to do. Now, most coaches not going to have that kind of conversation with their kids. Most coaches are going to get out there and they're going to see a kid that's lacking or slagging or whatever the case may be, slacking, and they're going to get in their face and they're going to yell and they're going to yell and they're going to yell. And it, depending on the park you go to, they're going to cuss and they're going to cuss and they're going to cuss. And, the more the more they yell and the more they cuss, the less likely that child is going to want to be there. He's going to want to be there less and less. So coaches, you have to pay attention to your kids. You have to be able to evaluate properly the talents of those kids, and with parents, every parent want their kid to come out there and be a quarterback or a running back. Every now and then you say, let him be a receiver. He want to be a receiver. He can run fast. As a coach, if you're a true coach, you can evaluate people's abilities, if you will, their talents. And as a coach, you can look at a child, you can look at you can run drills. They don't have to be in contact. You can run drills or you can do this or whatever the case may be. And you can look at this at the child's footwork. You can look at their hands, how they move their hands, and you look at their footwork, their speed. Just because you got speed don't mean that you can be a running back. Because with the running back, you have to be able to make cuts and read defenses and this, that, and other. You can have speed, but you can be dumb as a fucking rock and never know how to run a play because you have to be able to read the defense. I know in the 5-year-olds, whatever, you're not reading defenses at 5, but as you grow older, you have to read defense because the play is going to depend on what defensive lineup you're looking at. So I said all that to say this. Coaches, you simply cannot get out there and act like this game is your life. Most coaches, most of the people who are coaching, their football days are over. Their days, football days are gone. It is far behind them. And oftentimes, particularly fathers, they want their child uh, to live the life that they wanted to live in regards to sports. They want to see in their child what they may have not done or whatever the case may be. They want to relive their childhood through their kids. And they come out and they they think the kid should be this and it should be that or whatever the case may be. And your kid may not have the ability to do that. And then you want to badmouth the coaches, so on and so forth. And then if your child ain't getting playing time, you want to badmouth the coaches. Now, if your kid is legitimate and he it's in football, especially in football, you have to earn those spots. Like I say, I know it's a participation sport. You paid money to get in there, but still, you have to work and you have to earn that spot. Particularly that starting position. You have to earn that spot. You will get playing time as a little league player because most parks mandate it. You have to get X number of plays a game. So it is mandated for your child to play. But it's going to be up to those coaches to let you to put that child in the game in the manner in which they should be in there. Now, talking about coaches again. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm looking up. There's a screen over my head right here. Now, coaches with kids on the team. Your child is not always the superstar. Even though you might think so in your brain that your child is the superstar. The reality most of the time is that your son is not the superstar. Everything doesn't evolve around your kid. And the best way to avoid you seeming like your child is the yoke of that team is to treat every kid on that team the same way. I know that's your child, but don't play favoritism with your child. Don't put your child in position for them to fail. And that's one thing that I would never, ever do to my child. And I knew, particularly my youngest. Like I say, he played every sport that he had time to play. And one thing that I wouldn't do with him or my other two, I would never allow them to be put into a position for them to fail. If you can't do it, you just simply can't do it. If you're not cut out for this position, you just simply can't do it. We're going to find you a spot to where you're going to fit in. Now, with the big dog, let's talk about the big dog. When Big Dog started playing football, he started out as a fullback. He started out as a running back. And I must say, he was a damn good fullback. He had the ability to, if you know what the fullback position is, now you got these single back, formations, if you will, where there's a lone back in the backfield. So you don't see a whole lot of fullbacks anymore. You see some formations where they have a fullback or H-back or what have you. But anyway, Little league football, normally you have a fullback. You usually have a two-back, a three-back, and a four-back, which means your two and your three are your running back, your scat backs, if you will, and then you have that four-back back there, which is your fullback. And that person is there for short yardage situations and for blocking, for the most part. He played fullback as his first 3 years playing football, he was a damn good fullback. However, his body, based on the rules, would not allow him to continue to back position. Now, I could have been I ain't gonna say a terrible father, but I could have put my son through torture for him to be able to maintain that fullback position when it comes to his size. But that would have been wrong of me to force my child to be something that his body was not going to allow him to do. And he got to the point to where the weight requirement for that particular position, it wasn't feasible for him to maintain that size, because he was a thicker child. He was never a fat kid. He was just a big kid, and he could not maintain the size. So therefore, when we got to the point to where we said, okay, you're not going to be able to play fullback. We need to find you somewhere where you're going to be able to thrive based on your ability and what you can do and can and cannot do, or whatever. And that's where he went. And he kicked ass at it because he liked what he was doing. He had fun doing what he was doing. He was one of those kids that's touched in the brain that wanted to play this game. So with that being said, let's say if he ended up playing the 3 technique on defense. He ended up playing offense line on offense. Right now, he's playing college football as a college football center on the offensive line. Let's say if if I had to put him at an outside linebacker position, I probably for failure, because based on his build, his body type, his skills or whatnot, he can't pass coverage. And as an outside linebacker, I know that person has to be able to go out in pass coverage and cover these receivers and cover these tight ends and cover these backs out the backfield. And I know that with his, not saying that he just could not do it, but with his body type and with his skill level or what have you, he would not be able to do that. So if anybody tried to put it, could he have played outside linebacker on certain plays? Yes. But could he be a permanent outside linebacker? No, that's setting him up for failure. So we made sure that he went somewhere where he's going to be able to prosper. Would I want him to be able to run the ball? Yeah. Once he got in high school, he got a couple touches, and when he was as a freshman in high school, he got a couple touches. Even though he was playing defensive line and offensive line, he got a couple touches in the backfield. But that wasn't for him. He went to where he would be able to grow and prosper, and that's where he's at. And they got him a scholarship to the Division I school. That got him some stock as far as the transfer portal or what have you. And now he's at a different school playing same position. So, we good. But coaches got to be able to recognize that. Just because you have a kid don't mean your kid is a superstar. Don't mean your kid can play where you want him to play. He has to play to his abilities. And you have to keep that in mind and practice that in your brain and stop thinking that everything revolves around your child. I don't like daddy ball. Never did like it. I left one of the ballparks I was coaching because I was accused of playing daddy ball. And the sad part is, and this was back when he was running back, and a couple people out there know what I'm talking about. I'm gonna tell a story real quick. There was 2 of us. It was 2 of the coaches, two of the offensive coaches that had kids on the team. And it just so happened that myself had my son on the team, and another had his son on the team. His son was a running back, and he should have been playing running. He was a damn good running back. He should have been there. My son was a fullback. He should have been playing fullback because he was a damn good fullback. And that combination in that backfield was a combination won a lot of games. Having the other coach's son as a running back, which he had the ability to play running back. He had the skills to play running back. He had the speed to play running back. He had the ability to play running. He had all that. So he was in the right position. My son was a fullback. He had the ability to get the tough yards. He had the ability to block for the other son, coach's kid. Um, he was, every time he touched the ball, he was averaging 5-6 yards a carry because he was hard to bring down. He ran hard. He didn't fumble the ball. He blocked when he was supposed to block. He would open holes up for the 2-back or the 3-back, if you will, if you know what I'm talking about as far as backfield. But I was accused of playing daddy ball. And here's the thing. The other coach was the offensive coordinator. I was assisting the offensive side of the ball. The other coach called the plays. I didn't call the plays. I would tell him, the way we work together as coaches is that I would tell him, I would watch the defense on the other team's defense during the games. I would watch the defense. I would see what they're doing, what they're not doing, see where the weaknesses are to where we could run a whatever play, and then convey it to the offensive coordinator and say, okay, this is open. We can run through the 5. We can run through the 4. We can go outside. We can pass. The safeties are coming up. There's nobody deep. They're not playing 1 deep, 2 deep, or cover 2, whatever. I would just tell him what the defense is doing so he can concentrate on calling the plays. And I would concentrate where you watch the offense and make sure the offense is doing what they're doing. In the meantime, I'm going to watch the defense and see what the defense is doing and let you know where the weaknesses are. So when you call your plays, you can call your plays to their weakness. We had a game where this team was defensively. That particular game, the other coach's kid could not run the ball. Not saying he couldn't run the ball. They were stopping him. They had practice to where they were keying on him, and he was, every time he touched the ball, they was on him. So the coach switched up. He switched up, and instead of using the deep back to run the ball, he used the fullback, which happened to be my child. As a fullback, we were moving the ball, giving the ball to him. Again, he was averaging 5 yards, probably 5 yards a pop. Fast forward at the end of the game, I guess there was some chatter during the game. At the end of the game, it was more chatter, and by the time I got to practice that Monday after that game, by the way, the other team kicked our butts that game. I think they won. But anyway, when I got back to practice that Monday, I found out it was a whole to-do about the fact that my child ran the ball more than the other running back in that game. So my first thought was like, and so what's the issue? But he carried the ball more than. So why are you telling me? Why is that an issue that you're coming to me about? I don't call the plays. I didn't call not one play in that game. If I'm not calling the play, I'm not putting the ball in his hands. The offensive coordinator called every single play in that game. The offensive coordinator was the deep back in that game. The offensive coordinator chose to call plays to where my child was running the ball. I didn't call one play. It pissed me the fuck off. And for those who know me, y'all know I ain't got good sense. I don't bother nobody. I don't expect nobody to bother me. But now you fucking with my child. You're trying to blame him. And then even though he had a hell of a game, he probably rushed for 70 some odd yards that game. And then I get to practice on Monday, and then you telling me, oh, he shouldn't have ran the ball more than the other kid when I didn't call one play. And two, we're going to move him to another offensive line position. What the fuck? But anyway, I went off about that, and instead of me going to somebody's prison, I chose to leave that particular part because I wasn't going to put up with the bullshit, and the reason why, you know, there was some nepotism issues going on at that particular time because I'm not the only one that saw it. I'm not the only one that brought it to the surface, if you will. But instead of being engaged in all that foolishness, I left that part. I left that part, and we went on, and um, it was too late in the season for us to try to change parks or whatever. So instead of finishing out football season, that's my son took on swimming, and he got in the pool and he did swimming thing for the rest of that season until baseball season started, and he started baseball, and we went on back to football the next year. But I said all that say this: I'm not going to put my child in the fail. And if he's doing well, I'm not going to put my child in a position where any other coach or what have you is mistreating him, because I would not do that to any kid as a coach. But we do have some coaches that will. Unfortunately, we do have coaches that will cause that type of confusion, that will do things that they shouldn't be doing, that will yell at these kids and do it. I don't do that. I don't do that. And most people say, well, you don't yell. I don't need to yell. I'm teaching. I'm teaching these kids. Teaching these kids the game. It don't take all that yelling. I raise my voice if I have to. But you don't have to yell to teach the game. You talk to these kids. You tell them what they need to do, how to do it. You teach. If a yelling situation that you yelling come about or whatever, then yeah, you yell. Obviously, if you're standing on the sideline and you're talking to somebody on the field, yeah, you got to yell on the field. But when you're in somebody's face at practice and you're supposed to be teaching the game, there's no reason for you to be in this child's face yelling. There's no reason for you to shove a child or put your hands on a child or whatever. No reason for that. Coaches got to be coaches. You can't relive your life through your child or through anybody else's child. You have to let them kids be kids. Let them kids have fun. Let them kids. It's all about fun. If they're not having fun, they're not going to take interest in that sport. They're not going to do it unless they're being forced to. Let them have fun. Teach the game. Teach the game. Stop trying to live precariously through those kids. Your days are gone. Like I said, if you're at the point where you're coaching little league football, your football days are over. You had your fun. You had your opportunity. Your football days are over. Let these kids have theirs. I'm not saying, they use that word soft. I'm not saying be soft, because, you have to be back. Are we back? I think we might be back. I think we're back. Yeah, no, maybe. If we're back live, somebody give me a thumbs up. If we're back live on Facebook, because it may be showing that we are out on Facebook. So let me know if I'm back. Yeah, I think I'm back. But anyway, we're talking Little League football, and what I need you coaches and parents to understand that, um, it's a tough sport. It's a game that these kids have to want to play. If they don't want to be out there, don't make them be out there. Don't do it. As a coach, if you don't want to be out there, don't do it. Don't go out there. If you think you got to yell and cuss at these kids, don't go out there and coach. Sit in the stands. Sit in the stands and act accordingly. Be a good parent or be a good fan of the sport. But if you can't go out there and teach these young kids and mentor these young kids and teach these kids the right way, don't go out there on that field. We need positive role models in these young boys' life, and that's most important. I I I would prefer somebody who don't know a damn thing about football to go out there and coach than to have somebody who have all the expertise of the game and don't know how to handle kids. To coach a child, don't know how to teach kids. I've seen the best of coaches and I've seen the worst of coaches. But I can say this: out of all the teams that I have coached, a coach on, if you will, I've never coached with a group of coaches that's going to cuss at them kids. And we did not allow for you to coach at them kids at the little league level. Now, once they got in high school, I understand it's a whole different ball game. Once you get in high school, once you get in high school, you're preparing for the next level. So it's going to get a little tougher. It's going to get, the verbiage is going to get a little different, what have you, or whatever. But they're beyond their adolescent years. They're in the teenage years at this point, and they can handle a bit more. But you can't take a 5-year-old and 7-year-old or 9-year-old and just get in their face and cuss them out. And no, that's not right. Don't do that. But we need to mentor these kids. These kids face upward battle in life, in everyday life situations, and you'll be amazed on how sports can get a child through the hardships of their daily lives. You'll be amazed at how these sports being wrapped up in a sport or in sports can keep a child from being that thug that you don't want them to be. And 9 times out of 10, if they're not anything constructive, they tend to fall to the streets. And that's what we don't want to happen to these kids. Now, over the years, over all the kids that I've coached, I tried to mentor them as best as I can, with fell by the wayside. Most of the kids um, have went on. Obviously the kids that I coach are in their, they're 19, 20 years old at this point in time, the youngest ones. And it goes all the way up to about 35, 36. And one thing that warms my heart is to see When I run to somebody, or I'm walking through a public area and I hear the word coach, as soon as somebody say coach, I automatically turn around and look to see where it's coming from, because, you know, coach to a lot of kids in my day. And when they see me, they say, coach, what's up, coach? I know how they're doing. And my is being successful. I'm not saying they have to be rich, and just whatever. I love that they're doing well. And that was my heart. But unfortunately, some that has fallen. We can't continue for that to keep going on and on. I think we just froze up. I think we're back at this point. But I'm gonna go ahead and jump off here. We're coming up to the top of the hour. It's time for me to get up out of here anyway. It's been an hour well spent. I spent this whole hour on youth football. If you're a coach, listen to this broadcast. It's going to be posted on my page. If you know somebody who's a coach, and parents, have them listen to this broadcast. And I want to go be able to, when I'm here, I'll be traveling this whole football season, because every time I travel to a different city, wherever he plays, that's where I'll be on the weekend. So if I get a chance to catch a little league game here and there, I'll be there. If I'm in town. I want to see these kids. I like watching football. I love watching the little kids play, and I like to see them having fun. It's not all about winning. It's not all about winning. The score, should not matter. I almost wish they would take championships out of Little League football. That's just the way I feel. I don't think it should be a championship. You should play, uh, number of games, regular season. We'll talk about that another day. We'll talk about that another day. But anyway, it's time for me to get up out of here. It's time for me to get up out of here. I want to thank you guys for listening to the show. It's Thursday. I want you guys to have a good weekend. Hopefully the weather be well. I think kids go back to school next week or something like that. So, for the kids, I need them to be safe as they travel back and go on back to school. Parents, make sure your kids are ready to go back to school, not just preparing them with clothes and shoes and whatnot, and make sure that they're prepared mentally. Make sure that you're prepared mentally as a parent to send your child to school so that your child get the education that they need. Value talk politics tonight, but get in charge. Public education can go away completely. It can be privatized. Once it's privatized, it's going to monetize, and you're going to have to pay money to do this or whatever for public school. Don't. Project 2025 to make sure. So, but anyway, we'll talk about Monday. So until Monday, 6 o'clock on Monday, 6 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time. Make sure you check me out. Until then, I need to be safe. Be blessed. Out of here.